Sorry, Cap. Okay. The jab, nickname stick. Boxers, Thai boxers, MMA fighters, they figured it out probably, I don't know, maybe in the last 10 years, that having a good jab is super important. And it is. It's like the setup, it's also the interrupter of many different things, and it needs to be strong. Not like we call spaghetti noodle. No, when you throw it, it's like a brick and it's super heavy. But don't admire it though. You stay out there too damn long. They're smart, even though they respect it, they counter back too easy. So we're gonna break this thing down. So if you are right-handed, your right foot needs to be to the rear at a 45-degree angle. Your lead foot needs to be ahead at a 90-degree angle. Your heels need to be approximately shoulder width apart, even though it's at an angle, the 45-degree angle. And you turn slightly, just a little bit towards your front. Not 100%, but not all the way back either. You curl your fingers all the way in, like so. And now I'm gonna give you two versions of the guard. And I'm gonna explain it, why I do it this way. Thai in general, and we stand tall in general too, because your whole body is designed for punching, kicking, knee, elbow, defense movement. You're not just banking on one thing, all 8 weapons. But again, 90-degree, standing tall, but relaxed. Lead foot 90, rear foot 45. So Thai way of guard would be to bring the fists together, bring it to your nose, chin at a 45-degree angle, and then spread your hands here. And in general, this is your guard from the beginning. What I choose to do, because we start Muay Thai extremely late in comparison, because with them it's cultural. It's, from infancy, and they're a little kid and they're around it all the time, so they're vested and understand. Most of us walk into this stuff, if you're lucky, maybe a 10-year-old, and they're not too sure, but those that do stay with it, well, they rise. But then the rest of us show up at late teens, early 20s, mid 20s, and 30s, and so we need to expedite. So what I do is still 90, and then the 45-degree, standing tall and this kind of thing. You curl your fist in, but I would say bring it here, eye level, similar to a boxer, normal boxer, and relax, chin 45-degree, looking straight ahead and so forth. And the reason for this is when most people don't walk in here coming from experience of street fighting, meaning most aren't used to getting hit. And so if you do something where you're open to get hit, they flail. But at least if your home base has been here from whatever you did, you always remember to shell up. And then from this, at some point, you can find your way out. So that's the reason I recommend that. You can do what you want. Everybody got their game in the fight thing, but that's the reason. And for those that follow everything methodically, they've been successful. So that's my reason and justification or explanation. So anyway, back to this. Now, for power, not muscle power. Yeah, be in shape to use that as you need, but don't ever throw it away. And that's for any and all techniques. But leverage, I'm gonna stand at this angle so you can see. And everything from right around your belly button to the center of your body is your dead center balance. You're pushing off this back foot here, rotation, instead of doing this part right here and stepping in. I'm not saying it's wrong, I'm just saying you're gonna have a tough time on your way developing to deal with how you're gonna block a leg kick this way, or inside leg kick this way, or if they slick and sweep your foot this way, or hook your foot that way, because you got too much weight here. But if you stay here and you do like this right here, your weight distribution is 50-50, easy to block, or to evade. And it's not like you're gonna keep it out there and pose anyway. It's a second and you're done. So that explains that. So anyway, so back here, push off, traverse at the hip, and extend. Extend. So the power, when you're doing this proper, and I kind of combine the whole theory of karate and whatnot, because I did that too. These 2 knuckles here, I'd say focus on instead of these, because anytime a person get a boxer's fracture, it's always this bone right here. But if you practice here, it's straight and aligned. All these years, I never broke a bone in my hand, and I've landed some serious punches, whether it's this thing or even knocking some people out, and never, not one time hurt my hand. So when this is straight, the force is straight this way, and level, so it's never a problem. And that's gonna add to the power anyway. So back to pushing, shifting, and rotating, and staying 50-50 weight distribution. Next thing, right upon the impact, quarter turn inboard and elevate the shoulder here. The quarter turn inboard, when you hit, you rip the face if you're lucky. I know it sounds violent, but this is a violent sport. It increases a little bit torque when you hit, but it's like doing damage on the person because you win a fight via damage, power, damage, and so forth. But damage is obvious to see. Some people you hit, I mean, you land, but they don't show anything. But if you do it right, you're gonna leave some kind of a mark. So anyway, again, you're pushing, you rotate, pushing, you rotate. The reason for the shoulder here is because if a person up to the outside and want to land a clean right hand, well, they're not going to land it clean here because you got to get past this. You got to roll off the shoulder. You just got to have confidence and stay here and protect yourself. The split second, if they time it just right, you shoot your jab and bury your chin right here. You got some chance of surviving an uppercut because your deltoid and pectoral will help you so long as you ain't doing all this old crazy stuff. Next thing, you throw the jab, that split second you do, your body's protected here, at least to this point here, and your head's protected here. And if you sense and see it coming up, I mean, it's easy to rise just a little bit, but you never go here to expose and you never go here to expose. It stays here as a shield. One motion, as tight as you can keep it right there, and read what's coming to you. Now, to be dynamic, and this is static, you're staying in one spot when you do it, but to fight forward, I'm gonna do this at this angle. Your footwork needs to be toe heel, drag, toe heel. 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 It's almost like ice skating. And again, I'm gonna strongly emphasize this is when you're in the developmental stage, or even if you say you're advanced, but you wanna go back and maybe clean some things up, streamline it so maybe you're not telegraphing as much, because all this little stuff does matter. So anyway, you're gonna move forward and step into it and slide the ball of your foot at the same time and drag and readjust, and you're still staying a 50-50 weight distribution. So you got options for all your weapons at a split second. So again, moving forward with the jab, step in, slide, and readjust. The whole time this stays 90, that stays 45 degree, and again, heels approximately shoulder width apart. It's like you're on a railroad track. It's dynamic. When you move backwards, and again, in the developmental stage, I'm gonna keep saying that because there are those that have experience, well, I can do it this way, whatever. I get it, I ain't talking about you. I'm talking about these are people trying to come up that don't know what they're doing at all. And again, even you, if you look at it close and revisit, you can refine some things. Not say you have to, but you can though. So in moving backwards, step back, readjust, and push to make sure you got leverage. Now let's say you naturally do have it, that's fine. But when you do, you push and make sure you snap at the same time. Well, that's gonna come when you have experience. If you ain't got it, you can't do it because you ain't developed yet. So that's forward and back. Moving laterally to your left, the dynamic is similar to when you go forward. You're gonna step into it at the same time as you go, because soon as you do, there's power. Soon as you motion, it's there, right? So you cut them off and slide right into it. If they go to your right, which is their left, that you're gonna need to readjust and try to time where they are and then land it. Because trying to step right and throw a jab at the same time, it doesn't work. You're moving away from your leverage. It is what it is. And then angles. So I'm facing, well, this way, perpendicular. This is my right, but I'm gonna pivot to my left to face toward my right. And when I land my jab, it's gonna be right there. So I'm gonna push off my back foot here and rotate and extend my jab right upon the impact. So it's here, and stop. Here, stop. Here, stop. Here, stop. Dynamic motion. But when you go opposite cutting the angle, same thing. So from, again, perpendicular. So this is my left, but I'm gonna pivot to my right to face toward my left. But if I pivot and throw my jab at the same time, it doesn't work because see, I'm going into the force. But what I gotta do, pivot, get in position, stop, and then shoot the punch. Otherwise, there's no real power. So again, pivot to my right, face toward my left, boom. Pivot to my right, face toward my left again, boom, done. Still 90, 45 degree. Okay, next thing, leverage. I'll go into a little more detail explaining. Leverage in boxing, exchanging blows, is power not muscular strength. It's how you use your muscular skeletal system. So if you push leg straight initially, what happens is the power and the force is going to go from the ball of your foot, bypass your knee, bypass your hip, shoot through where the joint is in the shoulder, bypass the elbow and the wrist, and end up right at the tip of the bone of your knuckle. So when you hit, all that weight is there. In all honesty, is how little guys beat big guys. One of my really, really good semi-pro fighters I brought up, but probably just prior to around the same time Allen was a Kier. God, dog, when Kier was in his prime weight fight condition, he was at I think he was at 118 to 122. Little guy, but he had knockout power. He would drop guys in here with body shots, with his hands. Some he bruised up real bad with his kicks because he mastered that. Didn't lift weights. He did the monster calisthenics, the old way of training. Matter of fact, all my top level guys out there, none of them lifted weights. They all did calisthenics. So that has nothing to do with it. It's the body mechanics and with the musculoskeletal system, how you generate torque, if you will. So when you hit, it's all your bone structure that's landing, but you got to practice that too. So there you go. So the cup.